I'm 21 currently, and I wasn't there to watch Trigun, when it aired in Cartoon Network. And I wasn't there to stay up late to watch Adult Swim and, watch the Cowboy Bebops and things of that nature. But I have recently watched the original Trigun, and as I expected, it's an unbelievably 90s show. It takes place in this sci-fi cowboy world. The main character is an Ikemen who's good at beating up bad guys. The jokes revolve around the main character having this outlandish and a bit cartoonish expressions, and with production and a story that fits the gritty time that was anime in the late 90s. Now, for a guy who literally has an Evangelion poster literally right there, I like 90s anime, thus I like Trigun. But over the last 20-ish years since the original aired, anime has changed to become more moe and less cartoonish, to become more of isekai animes and less of sci-fi animes, to have more shonen protagonists but less of Vash. Then winter 2023 comes around and there it is, Trigun Stampede, a new look to the forever loved Trigun show. And it sits very low in anime trends, and it got me thinking, what happened to the Trigun fans? Did they all have jobs, get married, have kids, live fulfilling lives? Or is it just that people don't care for the new Trigun anime? Now, it has the same characters. Vash is there, Meryl Strife is there, Wolfwood is there, but Millie, he's currently replaced by this guy called Roberto De Niro. It feels like Trigun Stampede has a continuous plot compared to the original Trigun, where each episode has its own plot. The reboot as well is a lot more darker than the original. In the original, the plot centers around Vash, whether he should kill or not. The problem does occur in Trigun Stampede, but that's less of the main vocal point. Now, the main problem in the new series is more about how grueling and unforgiving and dark the world is. Do say that Trigun Stampede and the original Trigun has the same characters, but they have very, very key differences. Most of the villains have more depth in the new Trigun series. One of the Gale. In the original, he's just some bounty hunter in the pockets of the gung-ho guns. Trigun Stampede comes in and makes him a little sacrificial lamb for a dying village that is entirely dependent on the wind to make energy. Now it makes sense to call him Moniv the Gale. Honestly, hands down one of my favorite backstories in the whole new series. Wolfwood as well has a little bit more towards his backstory. We get a very thorough backstory, and we see his past in his orphanage and his relationship with this new character, Olivio. Another difference between Nicholas of the original and the reboot, besides not doing the nasties with Millie, and hopefully Millie is somewhere to get fucked, is his relationship with Vash. Now, in the original, Vash respects Wolfwood. He sees him as a friend, a peer, a guy who he could depend on to carry the weight. In the reboot, the relationship is more like, oh, I guess he's there now. Meryl Strife is also very different. Now, instead of being the straight man, a little bit of a tsundere and a senpai in the original show, in the reboot, there's almost zero romantic tension whatsoever with Vash and her. And again, of a feeling of, oh, I guess you're here too now. Vash is different. Vash in the original is cartoonish, always cheery, is just a wonderful guy to hang around. In the reboot, he's just depressed. We get him being cartoonish in the first couple of episodes, but throughout, he just looks like he's not having a good time. This new Vash fits better with the darker theme of Trigun Stampede. Vash at the time of the recording is less involved in the story. Now, the original show follows this guy like a hawk. This leaves very little room to have any growth in any of the characters. Now, Trigun Stampede subtracts Vash from the whole series. It gives us more time to build the world and build these other characters, give them more backstories. Now, the animation. The animation is different. I think neither of them are bad or good. Again, Trigun is super 90s. Funny faces, that 90s anime aesthetic that we all know and love. Trigun Stampede is done by Studio Orange. Now, if you know anything about Studio Orange, they are a CGI anime studio, with animes like Beastar and Land of the Lustrous. Trigun Stampede is a CGI masterclass. It is CGI comparable to the likes of Pixar, in my opinion. While most anime uses CGI for the sake of like budget cuts, you know, having like a car drive by here and there, having the camera being stationary, Trigun Stampede moves the camera all over the place. The choreography for action in this anime cannot be touched by no CGI anime. It is unique to itself, and for that, I tip the hat to the people that's working on Studio Orange. Muto Kenji, the director of this. This reboot is a brave reboot. Cutting the screen time of one of the most famous anime characters is brave. Doing the anime in full CGI is brave. Reworking almost every single character in the show is brave. It sees what works for the original Trigun and says, fuck that. In case I didn't make it clear enough, Trigun Stampede is so different to the original Trigun. In the heart of it, it's different, unique to any anime out there. It's the perfect reboot of Trigun in my opinion, because it doesn't want to be Trigun. It wants to be its own. It wants to be better than the previous. It wants to be Trigun Stampede.